Hello everyone and welcome back to another tutorial episode. Today we're going to do something that I've actually had requested a couple times and a couple people have asked for some information about. But today we're going to look at some custom texture packs and nothing specific. We're not going to actually look at any pre-made texture pack. What we're going to do is we're going to actually show you guys how to implement your own custom textures into the game. So right here in my offhand you can see that I have it's a Totem of Undying, but it's an Aku from the Crash Bandicoot games. And I've had a couple people ask me, how did you get that? How did you do that? Is that something you found online or is that something you did yourself? And it's actually something I did myself, and it's actually really easy. So if you guys are familiar with the HermitCraft series, you'll notice that in some of the episodes, some of the players, XB is one of them, I believe Grian did it too, possibly Ren, I don't remember who all did it, but I know XB did for sure. He changed the texture of his Totem of Undying to one of his custom plushies. And that's what he used to promote his item whenever he was trying to sell them. So you guys are probably going to ask, how in the world do you do that? It's actually not that hard, and we're going to show you guys how to do that today. So first things first, you can see I'm actually not running the standard Minecraft texture pack. I'm still running one of the faithful texture packs, and we can look at it here. We'll go to our resource packs, and we can see right here, we're actually running a Faithful Texture 1.17 pack. I'm going to leave the link to that in the description. You can just see the comparison between these two icons on the left side. The Faithful Texture pack is a much higher resolution than the default. And so we'll just go ahead and enable the default texture packs here, and we'll show you what those look like. Alright, now we're running default textures, and you can see the grass looks a little bit different, but you can also see the Totem of Undying now has the standard texture. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to make a custom texture pack that does not modify any of the regular textures and can be used with other texture packs as well. So you can take any custom item you want. You can use a Totem of Undying, you can use, you can use a tree, you can use any kind of block here in the game. You can actually modify the graphic that goes with that block in the back end so that it displays as something different within the game. Now, typically, you only want to do this with things like, for example, Totem of Undyings, something that's, you want to make sure you have in your hand that you want to promote or something like that. So let's get into it here, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a custom Totem of Undying. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to figure out exactly what I want to change. So I have in this folder here, I have a couple of PNG files. This one here is the bread image that Grian used in HermitCraft to promote his grain t-shirts. And then I also have the Doom guy over here. This is what we're going to use today to change our Totem of Undying. We're going to change it from looking like a Totem of Undying over to a Doom guy. So something simple, but you can use any image. You don't have to use a low resolution image like this. This is kind of the default resolution that was actually in the original Doom game. So we're going to go with that. But you can use something that's higher resolution, such as this green here. You can see this one's 261 by 235 on the dimensions. This one's actually pretty big as well, but that's because I modified it on my own. It's only like, 30 pixels wide in real life, something like that. But you can use really anything. Be careful going too high of resolution because that adds a lot of extra processing power needed in the game. So I like to choose something that's a little bit lower resolution, but you can use stuff that's pretty high resolution as well. The Aku that I used was pretty high resolution in itself for my own, which rendered just fine. Now, you can, of course, just modify any texture pack that you want. We can just modify this Faithful texture pack, but we'll also be taking with us, when we use this texture pack, all of the additional textures that are in this texture pack. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up this Faithful zip archive here. This is just a .zip. And I'm using WinRAR, but you can use any zip handling application out there. And when you first open up a texture pack, there are some things that have to be in here, such as the pack PNG, which is that icon here on the left-hand side here. This little icon here is that PNG. So you'll see some of them have different things for that PNG. And then there's the meta file. And then there's also the folder, which is the assets. Now, this is where all of the actual images are contained. You kind of have to use some common sense on when you dig down through this to find what you're looking for. But since we're working in Minecraft, we're not playing Minecraft Realms. We're going to go to the Minecraft folder. And then here we go for all the block states, the textures, and all the models for everything. Now, you can look at the sizes and see that, There's most of the information is contained within this textures file, and that's what we're wanting to change. We're wanting to change a texture. We're not wanting to change how block states operate and things like that. So we'll go to textures. Then within this, we're going to see some other pieces of the puzzle here. Now, all of the textures within Minecraft are customizable, such as the maps, all the effects when like a mob blows up, when a creeper blows up, those little particles, things like that. That's all customizable. Mojang has really made this easy for all of us to handle. All of the GUI elements are modifiable. So like when you open up a shulker box or you open up a chest, that little thing that pops up in the middle that shows you the items inside of it, that's customizable. So you can take this information that I'm presenting today and you can actually modify anything that you want inside here. Don't go too crazy, it's easy to mess these things up, but luckily, if all else fails, you can always just re-download your texture pack and start again. Or you just don't use the custom texture pack. It's that simple. So in this case, we're not wanting to modify any blocks, any entities, things like that. You can actually modify, how a sheep looks. If you remember, if you guys watch OlympusCraft, you'll see at one point in time they modified sheep to have like a sunglasses on. That's all done in here. They did it with a custom texture pack. The same happened with dogs, I believe, for the HEP. Whenever they turned the wolves, sorry, they made them yellow with the HEP on the side. That was all done with a custom texture pack again. So we're going to look for an item here because the Totem of Undying is an item. We're going to open this up. And in here, there's a bunch of stuff. You'll see the doors, you'll see the apple, and we can actually open these up and we'll see, there is the apple. That's the apple texture for the Faithful texture pack. It's a little higher resolution than regular, but if I wanted to change this to like orange or green or something like that, I can do that. These are all just standard PNG images that you can manipulate with any imaging editing program. So we're going to stick down here. We're going to go down. There's all kinds of stuff. Everything that's in the game should be in here. We're going to go down to the T's for Totem of Undying. All right, so here we have Totem of Undying, which is a PNG image like the rest of them. And there's the little guy. So let's go ahead and extract this. I'm just going to extract it out here to a folder here. So I have it out of the zip file. And then I'm going to open this up. I'm going to use Photoshop for this, but you can use any imaging editing program such as GIMP. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. GIMP is an open source and free image editing program that is excellent. So I'm actually going to open this one with Photoshop. All right, so we're here in Photoshop. I'm going to take this up to like 1000% here so we can actually see it. And then we can take this image and modify it. So if you wanted to, add something to it or change the colors, you just use your regular, normal editing tools to change the image. Do it however you want. If you want to change the eye color to something different, you can just use the paintbrush tool and color in the eyes however you want. You can do whatever you want. It's just a standard PNG image that it uses. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to change the entire image that this thing uses. We're not going to just modify and copy and paste because the resolution is so low. This is a 32 by 32 resolution image, and if I took any of these images down to that, they would be hard to recognize. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take this here that I've extracted, I'm going to delete it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this doomguy.png and I'm going to rename it to Totem of Undying, which is exactly like you see down here in this zip file. It has to be named exactly the same, totemofundying.png, which is what this is. Renamed. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to literally just take this, I'm going to drag this down, and I'm going to put it into the zip folder. Now it's going to replace the file. It's going to ask me here if I want to replace it, and I do. So now I have basically replaced the Totem of Undying within this zip folder with the Doom Guy. So what we're going to do now is, this is already saved. If you don't have like WinRAR, you can use what's built into Windows, but you first have to take this file and extract it. So I've taken it and I've extracted it here. I'm going to work my way down into the same thing here. I'm going to find the Totem of Undying, which is right here. And then I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to replace this Totem of Undying.png. I'm not going to do it now, but that's what I would do. I would replace it with this one here. And then I would take this file and then send to compress zipped folder. And then that would create the zip file that I need for Minecraft. Okay, so I've replaced the totem in this zip file. Now you have to use the zips. That's how Minecraft works. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go to %appdata. Minecraft, or .minecraft specifically. And then I'm going to look down here for resource packs. Now this is where you can put your resource packs that Minecraft can use. So I'm going to open up resource packs, and you can see all the resource packs that I had in the game there. Now I'm going to take this faithful underscore 1.17.zip. I'm going to make sure I don't have it in here already, which I kind of do. So let's rename this. I'm going to rename this faithful underscore doom underscore 1.17. That way I can identify it. Drag it into here. Now we'll go back to our game. Close this out. We'll go back to our resource packs. Now I should have in here a faithful underscore doom underscore 1.17, the one I just modified. So we're gonna hit right on that. Now, obviously, I'm loaded this. What you're seeing here is 1.16. This is a 1.17 texture pack, which they'll work. They are backwards compatible. The texture pack just includes some textures that are not included in 1.16, obviously, because there's a bunch of new blocks in 1.17. So we'll go ahead and hit yes, and it is now in the selected side of things. So we're going to hit done, and it's going to reload the textures. All right, we're reloaded now. We'll hit done, we'll go back here, and look what's in my hand. The Doom guy. You can also see down here, it does change the texture. Basically everywhere that this item was, the texture is now modified. So you can now see we have a Totem of Undying in my hand that is a completely custom totem. And that's it. Well, that's kind of a big one there on the left-hand side. It's bigger than a shield, I think. So that's basically it. We have a custom Totem of Undying. It's a pretty simple thing to do. It's easy to do. You can do it with any image. The resolution is not super important, although the aspect ratio is. So you need to make sure the image that you put in there is square, because if it's not, the application will take and it'll smush it down and it'll make it square. So if you want it to look correctly, you have to make sure that the image that you put in for that Totem of Undying is a squared off image. You don't want it to have like a 16:9 ratio, because it's going to squish it if you don't. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys have questions, let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys tagging along for this. And again, you can do this with any image that you want. You can put in whatever you want to use as your totem, just as long as you rename that image. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys on the next episode.